Hello, my name is Allie. I'm currently a graduate intern here at the UW Oshkosh Counseling Center, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about ways to enhance your self-compassion. If you're interested in learning more about what self-compassion is, or the two faces of self-compassion, I encourage you to refer to my other two videos. However, if you are here to just learn about ways to enhance your self-compassion, then I welcome you and thank you for joining. One way we can enhance our self-compassion is to think about how we would treat a small child, a good friend, a family member, or even a beloved pet. For example, if we have a small child in our life who is crying and they're upset about whatever they might be upset about, maybe we would watch a funny video or a funny movie with them. If our friend is having a really difficult time, we might offer them really kind words and try to be really encouraging in their life. So this idea about treating yourself as you would a small child is treating yourself in the same kind and compassionate ways that you would with others in your life. Another way we can enhance our self-compassion is to give ourselves permission to be imperfect. To be human is to be imperfect, and so we can enhance our self-compassion by allowing ourselves to be human. It's also important not to define ourselves by our feelings. So for example, maybe one day we feel a bit lazy. It's important that we don't define us as lazy. Maybe we feel lazy, but we ourselves aren't lazy. I like the idea as well of a permission slip to make a mistake. We can give ourselves a permission slip to make mistakes in our lives because we're going to. We're human. It's about accepting however we are feeling in the moment and acknowledging that others have felt this way before as well. We can also enhance our self-compassion by expressing gratitude for what we do have and for who we are. Some people like to use gratitude journals to write down a few things each day that they are grateful for or something that went really well for them. Sometimes gratitude walks are really nice, where you go outside and you recognize a few things you see that you're grateful for, or things that you can hear, or maybe feeling the sun on your skin is something you're really grateful for. I encourage you that when you do practice gratitude, to think on a smaller scale, because we can also be grateful for a good cup of coffee in the morning. It's fantastic when really big things happen in our lives, but it's also just as important to be able to recognize the smaller things that also are going well for us. Another way to enhance our self-compassion is to practice forgiveness, especially towards ourselves. So forgiveness is a difficult skill, but it's so beneficial. And so if we can practice forgiveness towards ourselves for being critical, for making mistakes, for not doing as well as we'd hoped, we're really leaning into that compassionate piece of ourselves. The last way that I wanted to talk about in which you can enhance your self-compassion is to be mindful, and to be mindful of what you need. It's important to allow what we think or what we feel to have its moment, but it's also important to be mindful and aware of our inner critic. So what are you saying to yourself, especially in moments where you really notice your inner critic coming out? What is it that your inner critic is saying? When has your inner critic been helpful? Maybe when has it been unhelpful? What or who has your inner critic been protecting you from? How did it motivate you? How did it comfort you? You can thank your inner critic for its good intentions, but recognize that being compassionate will be much more helpful to you in the long run than your inner critic. I would like to end this video by taking you through a self-compassion break by Kristin Neff. So this practice is called the self-compassion break, like I mentioned, and it's something you can do anytime during the day or night or middle of the day when you find yourself needing compassion. So I first encourage you to get into a comfortable position wherever you are, whether that's lying down or sitting, You can close your eyes if that feels comfortable and safe. You can lower your gaze or just focus on something off in the distance. Start to settle in. Take a few deep breaths. To practice, we actually need to call up a little bit of suffering. And so I invite you to think about a situation in your life right now that's difficult. Maybe you're feeling stress about something. Maybe you're having a relationship problem. Maybe you're worried about something that might happen in the future. I invite you to think about something that's difficult, but not overwhelmingly difficult, especially if you're new to the compassion break. Find a situation and get in touch with it. What's going on? What happened? Or what might happen? Who said what? Really bring the situation to life in your mind's eye. Now I'm going to say a series of phrases that I'm using to help us remember the 3 components of self-compassion when we need it most. The first phrase is, "This is a moment of suffering." Bring mindful awareness to the fact that suffering is present. I invite you to find some language that speaks to you. Something like, "This is really hard right now," or "I'm really struggling right now." We're turning towards difficulty, acknowledging it, naming it. This is a moment of suffering. The second phrase is, "Suffering is part of life." We're reminding ourselves of our common humanity. Suffering is a part of life. Again, I invite you to find language that speaks to you. Maybe it's not unnormal to feel this way, or maybe many people are going through similar situations. The degree of suffering may be different, but it's part of life. It's part of being human. The third phrase is, "May I be kind to myself in this moment." And to support bringing kindness, I invite you to put your hands over your heart or some other place on your body that feels soothing and comforting. Feeling the warmth of your hands, the gentle touch, letting those feelings of care stream through your fingers. May I be kind to myself, and using any language that supports this sense of kindness. Perhaps language that you'd use with a good friend going through a very similar situation. Maybe something like, "I'm here for you," or "It's going to be okay. I care about you." You can even try calling yourself by your first name if that feels most comforting. Anything that feels natural to express your deep wish that you will be well and happy and free from suffering. And now letting go of this practice, noticing how your body feels right now, allowing any sensations to be just as they are, allowing yourself to be just as you are in this moment. I invite you to bring your attention back to the room that you're in. Stretch your muscles if need be, or take another deep breath. And come back fully alert and awake. Thank you so much for joining me today to learn about how to enhance your self-compassion, and thank yourselves for giving yourself the space to practice a self-compassion break. Take care.